This is Mr. Creepy Official. True horror begins, now. If you're brave enough to survive this story, prove it, like, share, and subscribe before the darkness finds you. I had always thought I was rational. Logical. A person who didn't scare easily. But that was before Hollow Lane. The house was at the very end of the street, hidden behind overgrown hedges that swayed even when there was no wind. Its windows were tall, arched, and filthy. The paint peeled like old skin. Most people in town avoided it, whispering about curses, disappearances, and mirrors. I laughed at the thought. Until I saw the price. Cheap enough to seem unreal. The moment I stepped inside, the air felt wrong. Thick, stale, heavy, as if the house itself was breathing. The floorboards groaned under my weight, and somewhere above, a faint tapping echoed like fingernails on glass. Then I saw the mirrors. Not one, not two, but dozens. Small ones on the walls, massive ones leaning against corners, even a cracked, warped mirror in the basement. Each one reflected me, but slightly off. Sometimes my movements lagged, or my shadow lingered a second too long. I shrugged it off. Old houses do that, right? That night, I brushed my teeth in the tiny bathroom, lit only by a flickering bulb. I caught a movement in the mirror. Someone falling down the stairs behind me, but when I spun around, the hallway was empty. My heart jumped. A trick of the light, I told myself. But I couldn't shake the feeling. The next morning, while unpacking, I noticed the mirrors again. One showed me sitting in a chair I hadn't placed. Another reflected a door I hadn't seen before, a door that didn't exist. I laughed nervously, thinking I was losing it. By sunset, I knew I wasn't. The mirrors were watching. Waiting. And that's when I saw it. My reflection, smiling at me, though I wasn't smiling. The next night, I couldn't sleep. The house groaned and creaked like it had its own heartbeat. I wandered from room to room, drawn inexplicably to the mirrors. I stopped at a full-length mirror in the hallway. That's when I saw it. Not my reflection, but me, dying. In the glass, I was drowning in the bathtub, water black as ink, clawing at the air, eyes wide with terror. I screamed, but it was only me in the mirror. I stepped back, heart hammering, trying to convince myself it was a trick of the light, a nightmare. I moved to the living room. Another mirror. Another death. This time, a car crash. Glass shattered everywhere, twisted metal, blood, and my face frozen in horror behind the wheel. My reflection stared back at me, mouthing the word, "Run." I ran through the house, checking every mirror. Each one showed a different version of my death. Some were violent, some slow and cruel, some impossible. One mirror in the basement, a cracked, warped thing, showed me burning. Flames licking the walls, smoke curling around my head. I tried to look away, but the reflection held me, mocking me, whispering a faint hiss I could almost understand, "Soon, soon." I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in the corner of the bedroom, eyes darting to every reflective surface, waiting for the next vision. And I realized, each mirror wasn't just showing me something that could happen. Each mirror was planning it. By morning, exhaustion made me desperate. I tried leaving the house. But when I stepped outside, the street outside was gone. Hollow Lane stretched endlessly, empty and gray, as if the world had melted away. I could see reflections of myself everywhere, in shop windows, puddles, even in the blackened sky. And then I saw it, a figure in the distance. watching me. Not in a reflection, but in reality. I ran back inside. The doors slammed shut behind me. Somewhere, the house laughed, the house felt alive now. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of the lights, seemed to mock me. Sleep had abandoned me completely. I barely ate. My reflection, it had begun to move on its own. I discovered the first journal that day. Tucked behind a loose brick in the fireplace, its leather cover brittle with age. The handwriting was frantic, jagged. The mirrors, they do not reflect us. They take us. Every death I saw became real. And now I wait, trapped inside. I shivered. Reading it, I felt a presence, like someone breathing just behind me. I spun around. The living room was empty. But in the massive mirror by the staircase, there was a figure. A shadow, hunched, watching me. It wasn't me. I tried to speak. Who are you? But no words came out. My own reflection stared back, now grinning. And the figure in the mirror, it was closer. The mirrors began whispering. Faint at first, like wind through cracks, then louder, urgent. Join us, it's warm inside, don't fight. I ran to the kitchen, banging on cabinets, smashing plates. The whispers followed, seeping from every reflective surface. Even the silverware caught my reflection, and the shadows within were moving independently, writhing, hungry. I realized the truth, the mirrors were more than windows, they were prisons. Every soul they showed, every death they predicted, was a person already trapped inside, screaming silently, waiting for the next victim. And now, the house had marked me. I tried covering the mirrors, draping sheets over them, smashing a small one in the hallway, but the glass only multiplied. Reflections of me appeared in places mirrors didn't exist, windows, spoons, even the dark liquid in the toilet. And in one small hand mirror, I saw a death that hadn't happened yet. My own hands, reaching out to drag someone who looked exactly like me, from the house. I didn't understand, but I knew one thing, I wasn't alone. Somewhere, in the deep, twisted hallways of the house, the other presence moved. Watching. Waiting. Patient. And I could hear its breathing now, synchronized with my own. By now, I had stopped counting the mirrors. There were too many, and each one seemed to multiply when I wasn't looking. Every reflection showed a different version of my death, and every version whispered my name, over and over, until my skin crawled. The house had stopped being a house. It had become a labyrinth. Hallways stretched impossibly long, doors appeared and vanished, and the ceiling seemed to pulse like a living heart. I tried to run. Tried to escape. But the mirrors followed me. One in the basement caught my eye. Cracked, warped, glowing faintly in the darkness. I approached it, terrified, knowing I shouldn't, but I couldn't stop myself. And then, it pulled me. Not literally. But in a way that made my stomach twist. 1 second, I was standing in front of it. The next, I was inside. Not inside the mirror physically, but trapped in a twisted reflection of the house, where shadows moved independently, walls dripped with darkness, and the air smelled of smoke and iron. I saw dozens of faces screaming at me from the mirrors, my own face included. But they weren't me. They were versions of me that had already died, trapped forever. Their mouths moved, but no sound came out. Only their eyes, wide, desperate, accusing. I tried to smash a mirror to escape. The glass shattered, and hundreds of shards floated in the air, reflecting infinite versions of myself. Panic consumed me. I realized, every time I tried to fight, the house absorbed me further. Even reality outside had warped. I glimpsed a window and saw streets I didn't recognize, skies bleeding crimson. Reflections of me waved from every puddle, every shiny surface, beckoning me to join them. And then I heard it, a whisper, low and guttural, coming from inside the glass. "Stay, or take someone else." I backed away, but the shadows in the mirrors were reaching. Stretching, crawling, leaning through the glass as if the boundary between our world and theirs was crumbling. I could feel their hands on my skin, their breath on my neck. I realized the mirrors weren't just showing deaths. They were creating them, trapping souls, bending reality, waiting for me to break, or to become the next prisoner. The house didn't just want me scared. It wanted me trapped. And I was running out of time. By now, I was barely holding on to my sanity. The house had become a nightmare I couldn't escape. Every reflection screamed, whispered, reached. And yet, somewhere deep inside, I knew what I had to do. The attic. I had found a narrow, twisting staircase behind a false wall in the library. Dust choked the air, and cobwebs clung to my face as I climbed. At the top, the attic opened into a cavernous space I hadn't seen before. And there it was, the central mirror. It was enormous, bigger than any mirror I had ever seen. Its frame was carved with grotesque faces, twisted mouths and eyes that seemed almost alive. The glass shimmered, black and oily, reflecting the room, but not me. The reflection inside was another world. I stepped closer. My own face stared back, but distorted. Grinning, screaming, crying, all at once. And behind me in the mirror, I saw dozens of other figures, people trapped, their eyes wide, their mouths silent, their souls clawing at the glass. Then the mirror spoke. Not words I heard, but words I felt inside my mind. "You can leave, but another must take your place. Choose, or stay forever." I backed away. The shadows in the mirror surged forward, reaching for me. My reflection twisted violently, showing me my worst fear, being ripped apart by the trapped souls, screaming as I joined them inside the glass. Panic surged. But I didn't run. Not yet. I remembered the journals, previous tenants who had tried to bargain, only to vanish forever. I wouldn't make that mistake. The mirror began to pulse, black smoke curling from its edges. Whispers of all the trapped voices filled the attic, overlapping, begging, screaming. I could feel their despair pressing against my chest. My knees shook, but I held my ground. I reached for the mirror's surface. The moment my fingers touched the glass, reality shattered. I was inside the reflection, hallways warped, shadows moved independently, and the trapped souls surged toward me. My own reflection split in two, one trying to escape, one already consumed. A voice hissed. "Stay, or take another." I understood, I could fight, but I couldn't destroy it. I could only survive. And as the shadows lunged, I wrenched my hand away, breaking the spell just enough to pull myself back, barely. But the mirror didn't let go. It lingered, a living thing, waiting, patient. I stumbled down from the attic, trembling. The house groaned as if it were alive, responding to my every heartbeat. Every mirror I passed reflected me in ways that weren't mine, smiling, screaming, reaching for something beyond the glass. I thought I saw the front door ahead, faint light seeping through. Salvation. But as I ran, the hallway stretched impossibly long. The walls pulsed, shadows twisting and curling like tendrils. Mirrors appeared where none had existed before, multiplying until every surface reflected 1,000 versions of me, some laughing, some crying, all clawing at the glass. I reached the door. My hand trembled as I turned the knob. Outside, it should have been Hollow Lane. But the street was wrong. The houses were twisted, unfamiliar, and the sky bled red. In a window across the street, I saw me. My reflection, moving independently, grinning maliciously. Panic surged. I realized then, the mirrors didn't just trap you, they looped you. Escape was an illusion. Every exit led to another house, another reflection, another trap. I slammed the door and ran back into the house, desperate. The whispers grew louder, overlapping into a chorus of misery. Stay, or take another. I understood. The house demanded a sacrifice. If I left, someone else would take my place. And if I stayed, I would become one of the trapped souls. Forever. I ran to the central mirror one last time, my reflection splitting violently. The trapped souls reached, clawed, begged. The mirror pulsed with hunger, black smoke curling out, whispering promises I didn't want to hear. I screamed, I won't let you. And the house responded. Floors cracked. Shadows surged. Glass shattered in every direction. I felt myself being pulled, stretched, twisted, but I fought. Somehow, against all reason, I tumbled through a hidden doorway and into a faintly familiar street. Hollow Lane. But everything was wrong. Quiet. Empty. A window reflected movement. My heart stopped. Across the street, a figure was moving in, someone new. A family. A curious traveler. And in that reflection, staring back at me, was my own face. But I wasn't outside. I was behind the glass. Trapped. The whispers returned, soft and patient. Mirrors never lie, they only wait. I pounded on the glass, screaming, but it was too late. The house had claimed me. And somewhere, someone else would move in, and the cycle would continue. And the mirrors would watch.